This is our last performance of the 2015 season, our grand finale. So, what better best for the end? So, what better way to celebrate than a tribute to the Danbury Fair, which was the iconic celebration of our city in the past and perhaps in the future. More on that later. Yeah. And what better person to lead the celebration than the beloved musician slash local historian slash performer who has been closely connected with the fair for many years. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the ultimate entertainer.
Oh, God, what did you say? It's so embarrassing. There's only two things worse. Right? There's only two things worse than having to face an audience after that kind of an introduction. It's when a fly or a bee lands on your nose while you're singing, or when you have to sneeze when you're singing, and you go, "How am I going to abort this sneeze?" But there's only two things worse than what you just said. But I'm so glad to be here. I love being here. As I said before everybody was here, when I'm with you, I feel like we are a remnant and maybe an insurgency. But we remember things because I know everybody in this room speaks of things to people who haven't got the slightest idea of what you're talking about. When you say, like the first 10 days of the month, 12 days of the month, this was Danbury Fair weather. Quintessential Danbury Fair weather. John Leahy weather. That first day when that storm made everybody saying, "Oh, you know what the parking lot would have been?" But that was a quick rain. The parking lot would have dried. And we had from Sunday till Columbus Day. You couldn't have, those of us that were there, we could feel the fair. We knew how much we would have loved it. Now, it's a little unsettling to have my partner in the audience today. It's as if, like the Everly Brothers, like one brother's playing the guitar, another brother's in the audience, because Jack Stetson and I put together the Great Danbury Fair Review that we performed in 2014 and 2013. And we took this year off. And I just sprung it on Jack. Since Leahy's turns, it's Leahy, the fuel oil business turns 100 in 2017. So we'll come back at the Palace with, that would be a very good way to celebrate 100 years for John Leahy. Yeah. And we'll be ready. We'll be rested and tanned and ready. Carol, are we ready?
We're ready.
Carol's ready. Carol, we had to give Jack's wife 2 years off before we go back again. We give you 2 years. So I'm in charge of the music part of the show, and Jack, of course, did the narrative script of from 1869 to 1981. So I have one of his many revisions here. It's probably one that you threw away, and I'm going to be reading. I would keep reading for the wrong revision. But if you have any other questions, Jack can put a fine point on this pen. But I'm just going to hit some of the things that he said. And as we started, when we did the show a couple of years back, Jack would come out on the stage, and to be at the Palace Theater, I think it opened 1928, 29, somewhere right in there was the beginning of the Palace Theater. And so we're standing in that historic building, we're talking about the Danbury Fair, and Jack would say, "Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the Great Danbury Fair Historical and Music Review." And that's the way we started the show, and of course, way laid on to way. But I'm going to just hit some of the quick things that Jack wrote, and then I'll do the music. And he said, the question was to the audience at the Palace Theater, how did the fair get started? So Jack says, prior to the start of the fair, the land in the area had been used as a practice horse training track for racehorses owned by local industrialists. As they wanted to have Danbury included in the formal racing circuit that existed at the time, Sam Rundle, George White, Jacob Merritt, and George Copperthwaite purchased the land, and they began trotting races at the newly named Danbury Pleasure Park. Before fall, and before fall, the other business people in Danbury voted to associate with the horse owners to promote business in the Danbury area. And the Danbury Fair was born. If I'm not mistaken, is this 1869? Or is this,
Yes.
this is, okay, so this is our beginning of what we call the modern fair. So there we are in 1869, and then Jack would look across the stage and say to me, "Give us some insight." And of course, I'm not paying attention, and I'm missing my cues, and every time I had a cue for the band, Jack would be stuck there. Nothing would happen. And I'd be listening to him. I would be daydreaming about what he was saying. So you figure the Danbury Fair, 1869, there's Civil War music. There was music that is so popular from the Civil War that it surely had a role in the popular music of 1869. One of the big songs that we played and we discovered was the Battle Cry of Freedom, written in 1862. The Battle Cry of Freedom was to the Civil War what George M. Cohen's Over There was to the First World War. President Lincoln needed a way to lift the morale for recruits in the Union Army. And a man named George Frederick Root answered the request from Lincoln and writes the Battle Cry of Freedom. Now the song sells, this is going to shock you, 700,000 copies of sheet music. Now this is 30 years before what we call Tin Pan Alley, the beginning of the popular commercial American music industry. So here you are, 1860. I can't imagine how music traveled that era, since we're used to CDs and MP3s and stream things that I don't know. I don't use those things, but I know people that do use all that. Anyway, so in 1862, here's the song. This song in 1864 becomes the campaign song for Lincoln and his vice presidential candidate Johnson, Vice President Johnson. So this is a song, and it's relevant to the fair because the popularity of this had to make this one of the tunes that would have been in that fairgrounds in that era. So we'll rally around the flag, boys will rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We'll rally from the hills and we'll rally to and fro, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors and up with the stars. And we'll rally around the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We'll rally for our brothers, the men that live no more, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We'll fill their vacant ranks with 1,000,000 free men more, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors and up with the stars. And we'll rally around the flag, boys, we'll rally, do or die, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The song was so popular that the Confederate Army had their version of it, and their chorus went up. Dixie forever, she's never at a loss. Down with the eagle and up with the cross. We'll rally around the bonny flag, we'll rally, do or die, shouting the battle cry of freedom. Two versions of the most popular song of that era. In the research, it was written that this George Root had 14 printing presses running 24 hours a day to supply the sheet music that they were selling. And you have to think, I mean, that means there were that many pianos in people's houses. Because somebody was taking that sheet music and they were looking at it, they were performing it. So the amount of pianos in the United States must have been incredible. 1862, so I'm going to stay right in that zone. Ora Lee, which was the Northern Army's version of what today's Army would call caissons go rolling along. And then in 1926, Ora Lee, there's a woman that changed the words, and I don't know the name, I should know. But this wasn't part of the program. I would have known it if it were in the program. You would have made sure. You would have looked over across the stage at me. What are you talking about? But in 1926, it became Love Me Tender, and then 1955, we're all watching that TV set in September of 55 when Elvis Presley sings it on the Ed Sullivan Show. And when we did the research, it was shocking to remember, because I didn't know this, that Charles Lawton actually hosted that show. Because Ed Sullivan was in a car accident and he was mending. And Charles Lawton introduced Elvis to America. You would never think that that would be him. Like, it was a very lame kind of an introduction. But the way it was, Danbury Fair, 1869, you would have heard, Orally, Orally, made of golden hair. Sunshine came along with me and swallows in the air. Like the blackbird in the spring on the willow tree. Softly rocked, I heard him sing, singing orally, 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 made with golden hair. Sunshine came along with me, swallows in the air. Go 90 years into the future from that, and there we are with our rabbit ears on our television sets, if we had television sets. Love me tender, love me long, take me to your heart, for it's there that I belong, nevermore to part. Love me tender, love me long, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will. Orally becomes Love Me Tender. Man, that was great stuff. What songs? So the Danbury Fair was an immediate success. This is at the turn from 1860s into the 1870s. It provided opportunities not only for horse racing, but for a whole range of commercial enterprises, entertainment, and social gatherings for local people. Its reputation spread and the fair continued to grow as the turn of the century approached. In the late 1890s, this is really interesting. Jack did a great job here. In the late 1890s, America finds itself embroiled in the Spanish-American War. The Danbury Fair suffers a tragic loss of most of its buildings from a fire in 1897. So proceeds from earlier years' profits of the fair and some insurance allowed for a quick rebuilding of the 1898 fair. And the fair opens on schedule in 1898. Now, those of you that watched the Ken Burns movie on the Roosevelts, the end of that show, the end of that show we put together, he uses Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight. That's the soundtrack. And 1898, when the fair reopens, you got the Spanish-American War, you got Teddy Roosevelt, and I would love to see the biographies of the Rough Riders. Because they must have been men that we can't even imagine today in our politically correct universe that we live in. The kinds of men, they must have been like the Dirty Dozen of the movies that we were used to. But the Rough Riders, apparently, they played Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight so many times around their campfires, probably with like a horn, a trumpet, a cornet, something like that, that some of the people in Cuba thought that was the American national anthem. And they claim that it came from the brothels of St. Louis somewhere. When you hear the second verse, you can really see how racy that song is. And the version that I learned from was from Bessie Smith. I don't know what year I must have been 1930s or something like that. But did I get everything in this? Yeah, I got all my words, Jack. I got all my stuff. Come on, get you ready, get your brand new gown. There's gonna be a party, better gather around. Where you know everybody and they all know you. And you got a rabbit foot to keep away the hoodoo. When you hear that preaching do begin, bend down low and watch the way you're singing. When the prayers are through, in the chorus you'll join in. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. Now listen to the ladies' names in this verse. There'll be girls for everybody in this good, good town. There's Miss Consola Davis and Gandulia Brown. There's Joanna Beasley, she's the one dressed in red. I hugged her and I kissed her and then she said, oh please, do not let me fall. You're my man, and I love you best of all. If you won't be my man, then I'll have no man at all. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. When you hear those bells go ding-a-ling, all jolly round and sweetly you will sing. And when that bird sang through, in the chorus you join in. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. We'll have a hot time in Richter tonight. Teddy Roosevelt, what a thing he did with that song and those men, and how that song was the song of the time. And interestingly, there's one other song that we didn't do in the show, but it just squeaked in there at the Danbury Fair. It must have been huge, because it goes, she'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain. This is 1899. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be driving 6 wild horses when she comes. She'll be driving 6 wild horses when she comes. She'll be driving 6 wild horses. She'll be driving 6 wild horses. Driving 6 wild horses when she comes. There's a couple of other verses about the wearing of the red pajamas and going up to greet her. But these are the 2 verses that make this song banned from schools today. This is why you can't sing this song in our public school system. It goes like this. We'll be eating chicken and dumplings when she comes. We'll be eating chicken and dumplings when she comes. We'll be eating chicken and dumplings. We'll be eating chicken and dumplings. We're eating chicken and dumplings when she comes. Now here's the problem. How do we get that chicken and dumplings dinner? We're not going to go to ShopRite. We're not going to go to the Big Y. Someone's got to go out. Pretty much Grandma. And Grandma's got to go kill the old red rooster. If kids today say, we're going to kill the old red rooster. Oh God, the counselors would go crazy. They'd be out of school for a month. Kill the old red rooster. We're going to kill the old red rooster. We're going to kill the old red rooster when she comes. What a song. 1899 Danbury Fair! I was lucky enough to have my grandfather, he came from Lebanon, and he was here in 1930. He built a house in Bethel in 1930, but I don't know what year he first had a stand at the fair. But I was playing at Grassy Plain Pizzeria a week and a half ago, and I'm talking about, it was during Fair Week. It was during Fair Week, so it was a little one. And I'm talking, this is fair weather, and a woman looks at me and said, I worked at your grandfather's stand at the fair. And knocked me off my feet. I had no idea. And I said, you did? And she said, he sold the best soft shell crab sandwiches you could imagine. And for her to say that she knew my grandfather from the fair, I didn't know who it was. And then we talked a little bit, but my grandfather told the story. He had he bought a gigantic turkey from somebody, and he cooked it outside in our property on Fleetwood Avenue in our fireplace. The fireplace is still there. And he said he cooked that turkey and just kept cooking that. And when he went to the fair, the horsemen and the cattlemen, they went crazy for that turkey. He said that the guys, he was always about that big 50 pound, he's gigantic. But he talks about cooking that turkey in a fire, bringing it up to the fair, and having the horsemen. The horsemen love that. And I can't go into 1900s without speaking to this song that we did at the fair. Mike Soldan, one of our singers in our J&B band, performed it. And this is 1892, so I'm going to go slip back a couple of years. But this fantastic song sold 2 million copies. Now, can you imagine, even today, 2 million, you'd still, that's great, even with the internet and this whole universe of communication. 1892, and to sell 2 million copies, there were only 12 million households in the country. And the 1890 census stated there were 60 million Americans, 12 million households, 4.8 people per household. So again, the pianos, but this, in 1892, this was the beginning of that Tin Pan Alley era, where you had commercial publishing houses. And my son told me that in that time, you could bring back the music if you didn't like it. Now, I don't know where he read that. He saw some documentary. Yeah, it's like if you don't like the record, you can bring the record back. I don't like the CD. But he said the music was returnable. So, the song that sold 2 million copies in 1892 was a song by, I get these names mixed up. I always say this is Charles K. Harris. It's Jack in the Show when I saw the video. I reversed them. And George Frederick Root did Battle Cry of Freedom, and Charles K. Harris did After the Ball. And I reversed them in my brain. So, but here, this is Charles K. Harris doing After the Ball is Over, After the Break Morn, After the dancers leaving, After the stars are gone, many a heart is aching. If you could read them all, many is the hope that has vanished. After the ball. Now, if there was one song that I would record, because I don't have any wish to record or be, like that, to record it would be After the Ball. And I think, I'm telling it short, I gotta make a movie, because Jack, this is our next project. Jack, you're gonna write the screenplay of After the Ball, because, we all sing the chorus, but the verse of this is about a niece who climbs upon her uncle's lap and says, "Uncle, why are you so sad? How come you never got married?" He goes on to explain in the verse of the song that as a young man, he's at a dance, at a ball with his beloved, and she said to him, "Could you get me something to drink?" He goes to get her, whether it's punch or whatever he gets her. As he's turning around to bring it back, he sees his girlfriend hug somebody. He leaves the drink, that's it. And he spends the rest of his life bitter and stubbornly alone as a recluse. And then when she dies, decades later, he finds out in a letter that the man that his girlfriend hugged was her brother. What a movie! This is like the Bridges of Madison County! Jack, you can do it! Carol, you're not going to see him for a while. He's woodshedding. He's going to be busy writing After the Ball. What a story! That should be a movie, and then we bring back the music, and it'd be great. So, that's a good project for us. But that's 1892, and it's interesting. I think we can still sing these songs. We still know these songs. The stuff on the radio today, 120, nah. The shelf life is not there. All right. During the early 1900s, Danbury Fair continues to grow. Horse racing rivalries continued to draw large crowds. The fair became a showcase for inventions, electric lighting, telephones, movie cameras. Farmers for miles around marched herds of livestock to the fair. I remember stories of the guys from, was it the Ferrises from Newtown? They had lanterns on the oxen, on the horns, and they'd walk them down 302 into Danbury with the lanterns right on the oxen. It's funny, and the last time oxen marched down Route 302 was 1976, Vicki, the bicentennial. Because when the bicentennial wagon train camped at Rogers Park that night. I remember because I was at the Paddock Lounge, Gill's Pub, with my father, and all these men are drinking, and here come the oxen into sea. Greenwood Avenue, 302, lined with horses, but the oxen were the great. I mean, there's lumbering. There they go, the wagons. That was great. But yeah, so that whole business of lighting lighting the oxen with the lanterns on the antlers, horns. Okay, so farmers for miles around exhibited herds. Another fire, 1916, levels the main exhibition building and offices. That was rebuilt for 1917. But, as Jack thoroughly researched, 1918 brings the Spanish flu. The virus took 675,000 American lives, millions worldwide. The fair closed that year due to the epidemic. It was the first time in over 50 years that Danbury Fair did not take place. Now, the United States enters World War I in that time, heavily involved and was heavily involved until Armistice Day, November of 1918. The music of that time naturally included patriotic songs, ragtime becoming a popular style. When you think of 1918, you're on the cusp of that jazz age. Now, a song that ricocheted throughout America goes like this. Come on in here, come on in here. It's Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on in here, come on in here. It's the best band in the land. Well, you want to hear the music like you never heard before. You get you so excited that you're going to start a war. It is the bestest band at hand. Come on along, oh, take me by the hand. Up to the man who is the leader of the band. And if you want to hear that Sunny River play, the ragtime, come on in, Alexander's Ragtime Band. Oh, come on in, Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on in, it's the best band in the land. You want to hear the music like you never heard before. Get you so excited that you're gonna start a war. It is the bestest band today. Come on in, it's Alexander's Ragtime Band. The man, oh, walking to the man, the leader of the band. Come on in, that's Sunny River play. In the ragtime, come on in here. Alexander's Ragtime Band. Woo! What a song! What a song, Alexander's Ragtime Band. Now, I should have waited one song before I played that, because just as we talked about Battle Cry of Freedom being a composer answering a request for a president, in 1916, 1917, you have George M. Cohen winning the Congressional Medal of Honor for lifting American morale with a song. Gotta get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Hoist that flag and let her fly. Like true heroes do or die. Gotta go today, right away, don't delay. Make your daddy glad to have had such a laugh. Tell your sweetheart not to mind, be proud, her boys in line. Over there, send the word over there. That the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming. Drums, drumming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer. Send the word, tell the word to beware. That will be over, we're coming over. And we won't be back till it's over there. Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Johnny, show the Hun you're a son of a gun. Make that flag come, go let it fly. Like true heroes do or die. Johnny, get your kick, go your thing, show your grit. Soldiers from the ranks and the towns and the tanks. Tell your sweetheart not to hide. Keep proud, her boys in line. Over there, That's some powerful music. So, let's see where we are now. That gets us between, what's that, 1916 to 1918. And at that time, when we did when we did Over There, somebody that you know, Bobby Thuman Christos, she's still a force of nature. That woman, she was the 1946 National Baton Twirling Champion. National, from Grassy Plain Drum Corps. She was the national champion, and she's still twirling. We had her at the fair show. There's been multiple. When we did the P.T. Barnum show in 2010, she was a gigantic hit there on the front lawn of the Bethel Municipal Center. And we have plans for her. She just has to keep twirling. 2017. We're going to get the contract, Jack. Have her lawyer call your lawyer. I'll make sure. All right. So we've got all that. But Bobby Thuman, she did, she twirled the baton to that song. And then Jack wrote, this is all Jack's narrative. The 1920s saw exhibitions such as balloon ascensions, wing walking exhibitions, motorcycle, soccer, and auto racing, featuring nationally known drivers. In 1922, on the last day of the fair, the old wooden grandstand burned down. It was quickly replaced with a new steel and concrete building that would stand until the fair ended in 1981. Amazing. Because I remember the men all talking about how well built that grandstand was. How true it was, the lines and the cement and all that business. Wow, everything I build is crooked, so to have a grandstand, I can't. Look at my guitar, I got a hole in my guitar. I can't even have a guitar without a hole in it. The 1930s and early 40s saw all kinds of new exhibitions. Circus acts were presented in front of that grandstand. Stunt driving shows, known as Hell Drivers. The midget auto racing also began on the new 1/5 mile paved track. Fair attendance continues to grow. So we're entering the big band era. Now it's tough for me to do the big band era on my guitar, but I can do it. Now I can do this. Jack has faith in me. But when I did Over There, there's a lady that sings with me in bars and restaurants. And her name is Rita, and she's here tonight. Now, she doesn't know she was going to sing tonight. But I wanted her to do Over There in our show. I wanted Rita to do Over There. And for some reason, Rita just didn't feel comfortable doing Over There. And I would fight with her. We would fight. Rita, you got to do Over There. I'm not doing Over There. So when we got to the 1940s, we did some of the Andrews Sisters stuff. Of course, we had to do Glenn Miller Big Band with we nodded the hat to Lee Knowles, the Bethel trumpeter who worked. I always tell the story. Lee Knowles actually came to Bethel, right to our street, after Lee Knowles won a night's. I don't know if it was a night. I don't know what he won, but I know he won something on the Major Bowes talent show, right? That amateur show, whatever that was, Major Bowes. Anyway, his notoriety from winning that show, that talent contest, brings Glenn Miller to our street. He literally drafts Lee Knowles right out of the street to perform with the band. He was the first trumpeter in the Glenn Miller band, and when you hear da-da-da-da-ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da, that was the Bethel boy doing that, and that's immortal. That's such a signature a melody of our time. So we married those sounds because we had the whole band. And we did that, and then we added some Andrews Sisters, and then we did some Carmen Miranda in there. We pulled it in there. A good friend of mine, Annie Kelly, who performs with me regularly now, she did the Carmen Miranda. So, but tonight, since we have Rita here, now Rita just happens to know one of those Andrews Sisters songs, and it's Quanta La Gusta. Now, I was going to sing this, and then I see her walk in, and so I said, here, Rita, this is your song tonight? No, she's not at all ready for this, but she's going to do a great job. You're going to love her. From Brookfield, 06804. Come on, Rita. Rita Mulvey. Now, I don't give her a microphone today. All she's got is this.
And my love.
Yeah? Please tell them the truth.
Aware of this. Okay.
I met Rita about 5 years ago at La Fortuna restaurant when it was still open, and she would come in with 4 other women, and little by little we got to be friends, and Rita would sing a song or two, and then she ended up performing at the Sycamore as Janis Joplin singing Bobby McGee. And she was in full hippie attire 2 years ago, and we told everybody that she was Janis Joplin's stunt double for Woodstock, and that she was still going, whereas Janis Joplin's not still going. So, all right, I'm gonna start this with you. One telegoose, 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 telegoose. One telegoose, 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 telegoose.
We gotta get going. I think it's true.
Okay, we gotta get going.
Where are we going? What are we gonna do? We're on our way to somewhere. The two of us and you. What do we see there? Who will be there? What have we been surprised? There may be vacuum ghettos with dark and flashing eyes. We're on our way.
We're on our way.
Back up your back.
Back up your back.
And if we stay,
You stay.
we won't come back.
We won't come back.
How can we go? We haven't got a dime, but we're going, and we're gonna have a happy time. One
Telegoose, 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 telegoose. One telegoose, 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 telegoose.
Now someone said they just came back from somewhere. A friend of mine that I don't even know. He said there's lots of fun if you can get there. If that's the case, that's the place we want to go. I can go and where we going, what are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do?
We're on our way to somewhere, the two of us and you. What do we see there?
What do we be there?
What'll be the big surprise? There may be caballeros with dark and flashing eyes. We're on our way.
We're on our way. We won't come back. And if we stay,
We won't go back. Where can we go?
Where can we go?
We haven't got a dime, but we're going, and we're gonna have a happy time. And one telegoose,
telegoose, telegoose, telegoose, telegoose, telegoose. One telegoose, 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 telegoose.
I'll take the train.
Take the train.
You take the boat.
I'll take a boat.
I'll take the plane.
I'll take a plane.
You ride the goat.
I'll find that goat.
How can we go?
How can we go?
We haven't got a dime, but we're going, and we're gonna have a happy time. Oh,
One telegoose, 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 telegoose. One telegoose, 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 telegoose.
hey, hey, hey.
Oh, you know, it's funny. You just been with me, and there's that restaurant up in Brookfield, Rocco's. You may know Rocco's. My Jazz for Juniors, which we've done since I bought this guitar in 1994 for Jazz for Juniors, so I know that's how long it took to wear a hole in it. But she was up there one night when we were playing, and there were 12 Brookfield policemen having pizza. They had the pizza night for the 12 policemen, and she parked her car. She blocked 12 cops' cars. Everybody's going, whose car? Who's got the cops all pinned in there? Oh, to see 12 officers, they can't leave the restaurant. Her car. So, that is a fabulous time, that kind of music. And when we went into, oh, you know, I did miss one thing. I did miss one song in the Roaring Twenties that I should have covered because it's connected to Danbury Fair in our area so intricately. In 1924, the song by the name of My Blue Heaven was written. And My Blue Heaven fell flat for 4 years until Gene Austin, who was a crooner, picks up that song and sings it in a way that we wouldn't recognize it today. And interestingly, the amusement industry or the carousel or whatever, you never went to an amusement park when we were kids growing up without hearing My Blue Heaven played on the Calliope for a merry-go-round. So every time you were so at Danbury Fair, My Blue Heaven must have been played thousands of times on the Midway. And interestingly, the man's name, Gene Austin, was the namesake of the man who owns the Sycamore. Gene Austin owns the Sycamore, and the Gene Austin of 1928 singing was his father's first cousin. So it's interesting that My Blue Heaven has such relevance. There's Gene, and he walks around with a piece of sheet music that has his name on it. It says Gene Austin. He goes, "This is my cousin. I was named after him." But I've always liked this song. And in 1960, Fats Domino did his pop rock and roll-esque version of this. That's the way I always knew it. So I'm going to do it. Like I said, this is out of sequence. Jack would have scolded me on stage. He said, you can't go back to the 1928. We're into the big band, now you want to do 1928? What's going on? When we're moving home and evening is nigh, I heard my living. Turn to the right, got a little white light, gonna take you to my living. You see that smiling specified place, cozy room. There's a little nest that's nestled where the roses bloom. Molly and me, baby makes three. We're happy in my blue heaven. When we're both gone and the evening is nigh, I heard my blue heaven. Turn to the right, got a little light, gonna lead you to gotta get to heaven. You see that smiling face of fireplace in the cozy room. There's a little nest that's nestled where the roses bloom. Molly and me, baby makes three. We're happy in my blue heaven. Can't wait to get to my blue heaven. Oh, it's my blue heaven. On the Midway! On the Midway of the fair, my blue heaven. Oh, that isn't true. So, I can't wait to get to the part of the fair that I was raised in, because as a little boy, I mean, I was what was I, 2, 3, 4 years old, going with my grandfather, or being brought there, because I didn't go anywhere then, being brought there, and I would sleep on, he roasted his own coffee. He had those big bags of coffee beans in burlap, I can remember that, and then crates of the soft-shell crabs they were packed in seaweed, and they filled the garage in the last week of September, getting ready for the first week of October. And so I would sleep on they have a couple of chairs, and I would sleep on those bales, those the burlap bags, yeah, of the coffee. It was, what a way to grow up. And then right in Frontier Town, right there, in Gold Town, Frontier Town. What am I, losing my mind? Right in Gold Town, to be there, and the smells, and you remember the tram, the Jeep, remember the noise that the Jeeps would the horn on those Jeeps when they'd come through? Oh my God, the sound and the smell and the temperature. So Frontier, Gold Town, it was one of my favorite places since we had to stand there. And I'm thinking of the 1950s, and Jack gave a great rundown of all of the acts that performed there. Now let me see if I can find that page. Let's see who we have. No, it's not here. Anyway, I'll tell you what happened. Forget everything I said. Ignore all that. The first thing, Village, New England Village. This was followed in 1955 by Gold Town, a depiction of the Gold Rush era village, complete with miners, hold-up reenactments. I never saw that. Jack tells us about that. Is anybody here, did anybody see the hold-up reenactments, the actual, you remember that? When I saw it on the video, it was terrific. The actors and horses, and couldn't do that today. The insurance would never let you do it. That's something in the past. We can't do that again. At Mayor Bowman's new Danbury Fair, we're going to ask him, are we going to have the reenactment of a hold-up? Oh, God. Homeland Security would put it in. So, let's see. I just wanted to cover the name of the bands that oh, they're going to remember this. Red Brigham and the Harmony Hayriders, Carol Chase and the AAA Ranch Gang, Stella Donnelly and company, and of course the Zembruski family in front of the Big Top. So I'm going to cover, because I'm not going to be able to do the whole show because it took 2 hours and we're getting close to our end of this portion. I'll come back next year with the rest of it, getting ready for it. We'll get the best half next year. And then we have the preview for the big show in 2017. And then Jack's movie, After the Ball. He's going to have his script. He'll give you a little tease. So the songs of the 1950s, the country western songs, I stumbled upon this doing the research. We didn't do this at the fair, but you may remember Jack Mahoney, who played Tarzan, had a role on TV from, I guess it was 58 to 59. It was 1 year, and this character was Yancey Derringer. I don't know if anybody remember Yancey. Remember Yancey? And a guy named X Brands was his Indian sidekick, and his name was Pahu. And I was up in an assisted living. In fact, you're gonna know where it was up at the Kent. You know the Kent, which is closing. It's on the paper all the time now. There's very few people there left. But I was there, and I brought up Yancey Derringer, and there's a man there that knew all about Yancey Derringer. And I was so happy that he knew the actor, he knew the year, everything. But this music was so good. I don't know if this was ever played at the fair, but this is so Gold Town. Yancey Derringer, Yancey Derringer. Wherever there is dairy, do they tell of Yancey dear? They say that Yancey Derringer's on every nature trail, riverboat and manor house, and now and then in jail. They say that Yancey Derringer had ruffles on his wrists, brocades and silver buckles. There's iron in his fist. Yancey Derringer, Yancey Derringer. Wherever there is dairy, do they tell of Yancey dear? Yancey Derringer, Yancey Derringer. Wherever there is dairy, do they sing of Yancey dear? So if you were in Gold Town at Danbury Fair in those years, the late 50s, we had a whole slew of terrific Western television shows that had tremendous themes. And this one, rolling, rolling, no, the spring just rolling, even though he's rolling so high. Just try to understand him, rolling random, soon we'll be living high and wide. Rolling, 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 keep the doggies moving, keep the doggies moving right. All the things I'm missing, good fiddles and good kissing, waiting at the end of my ride. There's something really funny about this song. The song was sung by Frankie Lane. And Frankie Lane was in love with my great Aunt Rosie, my grandmother's sister, my mother's mother's sister, and he met her at a dance marathon in Long Island. Now, I don't know how long they danced, but he met Rosie, and he wanted to dance with her longer than that dance, and he courted her, and he would come. My mother remembers Frankie Lane coming to their house in Maple Avenue in Bethel, but she just did not like him, and she said she didn't want to get involved with the musician, and of course he wasn't famous yet. So, but it was before he really made his name, but he was in love with her, and he sang this song. Oh, my calculating, my true love will be waiting at the end of my ride. Now, at this point in the show, we had quite a colorful character. His name was Cowboy Billy Smith. We were never sure whether he was going to make the show, but he did. He got there, and he got up on that stage, and we were never certain about what Billy was going to say or forget to say. But he got up there, and he did a great song on Born on a mountaintop in Tennessee, sweetest day in the land of free. Raised in the woods, and he knew every tree. Killed him bar when he was only 3. Davy Crockett, the king of the wild frontier. Davy Crockett, the man that knows no fear. Went off to Washington to serve a spell, fixing up the government and laws as well. Did pretty good, as we hear tell. Fixed up the crack in the Liberty Bell. Davy Crockett, the king of the wild frontier. There's a very interesting anecdote about Davy Crockett when he was a congressman, because I guess the terms, the term of office, I think it was only 1 year. I read this, I'm trying to remember what I read, but when he was voted out of office, he said to his constituents, "I will go to Texas, and you may go to hell." Perfect. He said, "And you may go to hell for not voting me in again." He came home, his politicking done. The Western March had just begun. He got in his canoe, got his dog and his gun, set out a singing to follow the sun. Davy Crockett, the king of the wild frontier. Davy Crockett, headed out west again. Davy Crockett! Wow! What a song! Davy Crockett! Nobody, the kids in school don't know who Davy Crockett is anymore. I guess Walt Disney's going to have to make another movie. That'll do it. If Walt Disney does it, they'll know. So we got up to about the mid-50s. That's as far as we've gotten. And we got to get up to 1981. So we're going to do that when I come back next year. We're going to get the last half. We'll do the last half of the Danbury Fair. But I can't think of any better song to lead, because think of today and talk about remember the forecast? They said, "Oh, it's so dry, the colors are going to be horrible, there's no moisture." Isn't this been the best? Driving here up these roads today, heartbreaking. And they've lasted into Halloween. Those sugar maples. This has been the best color everybody remembers, and they kept saying, "Oh, the dry, the trees, this, the climate change." It's been great. So, picture this. Here we are. We're all there. We're going to morph, that mind morph. We're in front of the big top. It's the afternoon, in the afternoon sun. The parade has gone by, and Victor Zombrowski and Felix and their bass player, Vinnie Magro. Vinnie Magro was this tiny little guy with a mustache, and he was like a flyweight boxer. He was a boxer of all things. He played the bass, and he used to be over at the Ethan Allen Inn afterwards, because my band, I would play at Ethan Allen Inn during Fair Week, sometimes. And Vinnie Magro would always come up to the bandstand and say, "We're playing too many happy songs." He goes, "There's money in tears." He'd say, "There's money," and he was always with girls that looked like his granddaughter. I don't know what he had, but I know that he always with girls that were so young and were looking at Vinnie. He was saying, "There's money in tears." No, but he'd be up there in that October sun, that lady sun. Oh, yeah,
invite you to the Midway, I mean the dining.